In the previous video, I mentioned 4 root causes that may be behind your social anxiety. But we only explored one of them in more detail, traumatic experiences. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the 3 other root causes, and they are a highly sensitive nervous system, personality traits, and genetics. I hope that after watching this video, you'll understand yourself a little better and begin to see that social anxiety is not just some random mental health issue, but that there can be many different factors behind it. Let's start with the highly sensitive nervous system, what it is and why it can be one of the root causes of social anxiety. A highly sensitive nervous system refers to an inborn trait of the nervous system. Over the years in my work, I've noticed that many people who struggle with social anxiety identify as highly sensitive. But it's important to say that not all sensitive people struggle with social anxiety. A highly sensitive nervous system is often considered to be inherited, and it comes with certain traits like getting tired more quickly in social situations compared to the others. You may also need more time alone to rest and recover. Your surroundings, like lights and sounds, may feel more intense. And sensitive people often pick up on other people's emotions and moods more easily. But how does a highly sensitive nervous system relate to social anxiety? Researcher Elaine Aron, who has studied what's known as high sensitivity, describes a study from 2005 in her book, The Highly Sensitive Person. The study found that highly sensitive individuals who had difficult experiences in childhood were more likely to develop depression, anxiety, or shyness compared to those who had similar experiences but were not highly sensitive. So, in other words, a sensitive nervous system combined with difficult childhood experiences may increase the risk of developing social anxiety. I'd actually be really curious to hear, do you consider yourself a highly sensitive person? Let me know in the comments. Next, let's talk about another possible root cause behind social anxiety. This one is really interesting because your own personality traits can actually reinforce anxiety symptoms. Many people who struggle with social anxiety are very demanding of themselves. Sometimes we can even talk about perfectionism and the need to be perfect. This often comes with a strong fear of failure and a deep sense of shame. We may constantly evaluate ourselves through other people and their opinions. And this is often connected to the fear of being exposed. We're afraid that others will notice our anxiety. And this, in turn, tends to maintain and even intensify the anxiety and fear. These days, we also talk a lot about something called imposter syndrome. It's the feeling that you're not actually as capable, good, or confident as others think, and the fear that this will be revealed. And because of this, social anxiety can take up a lot of energy as we try to maintain different roles and we're afraid to show our true, vulnerable selves. One of the most important things to learn for anyone struggling with social anxiety is self-compassion. No one demands us so much that we demand from ourselves. No one criticizes or monitors us as much as we do. And that's why self-compassion can be a life-changing force. Another personality trait that can increase the likelihood of social anxiety is shyness. But shyness alone does not cause social anxiety. There are usually other underlying factors, such as a strong sense of internal unsafety. Interestingly, I've asked my audience on social media a few times If you struggle with social anxiety, do you also consider yourself shy? And surprisingly, only about 10 to 20% said yes. So that means around 80 to 90% of people with social anxiety are not actually shy. And this is the inner conflict many people struggle with. Why do I feel anxious in social situations even if I'm not shy? Personally, I'm not shy at all. I'm actually quite talkative and social. And still, many social situations used to make me very anxious and nervous. So very often, shyness alone does not explain social anxiety. There are many other factors behind it. Alright, let's move on to the next root cause. Can social anxiety be inherited? At this point, it can be interesting to pause and reflect. Are you the only one in your family who experienced this? Or are there others as well? In my own family and extended family, there are several people who struggle with social anxiety. I once wrote down a sentence that really stayed with me. We don't only inherit our parents' eye color or talents, we also inherit their anxiety. In fact, research suggests that about 30 to 40% of anxiety can be explained by genetic factors. So one strong factor behind social anxiety may be genetics. Today, we also know that trauma can be passed down from one generation to the next. This is explained through epigenetics, how our environment and experiences can affect our genes and be passed down across generations. And when we look at all these root causes together, traumatic experiences that we talk about in my previous video, a sensitive nervous system, personality traits, and genetics, it can start to feel like a very complex picture. And you might be thinking, can I really overcome this? But this is where it's very important to remember one thing. Change is possible. Your brain and nervous system are adaptable. That means you can learn new ways to respond. When you learn to work with your body, your nervous system, and your brain, you can start to unlearn old patterns and conditioned responses. And through that, you can move toward a more relaxed life. But for this, we need mind-body practices, and that's exactly what I teach. So if you want to learn more, please subscribe to this channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.